Sonic the Hedgehog is one of the most iconic video game characters of all time. On June 23rd, 1991, the first Sonic the Hedgehog game was released for the Sega Genesis. And ever since then, he's become an icon of video games. And as of today, he is now 33 years old. God damn, this blue bastard is double the age I am. What the hell? Now, I've been a fan of Sonic for as long as I can remember. I've been following the blue blur basically my entire life. For the 33rd anniversary of Sonic, I thought it'd be a cool idea to go over my history with the character and his games, and what the character really just means to me personally. I'm gonna try to recap most of my life with this character, but since I spent all my life being a Sonic fan, I'm obviously not gonna be 100% accurate or get everything, but I will try my best. And with that, let's get started, boys. So, I was born June 24th, 2005. I was born during Sonic's darkest period, but as a little ugly ass baby that was born in a fucking porta potty. I didn't know that at all. All my dumbass was probably doing as a baby was just sleeping and crying like an idiot. One of my earliest memories I have actually was me playing my first video game. Now, since I was so young, it's a bit foggy, but I remember one day I saw my dad had the Sega Genesis hooked up. I don't know why it was hooked up and what reason, but that's when I would play my first video game, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I don't remember if it was Sonic 3 and Knuckles or it was just Sonic 3, but I remember seeing that intro with Sonic and just being so intrigued by what I was looking at. I thought that Sonic was the coolest shit I've ever seen. And then I ended up playing the game, and that's when I became a fan of this wild ass franchise. I was so in awe at what I was playing. I sucked ass at the game since I was like, what, 3 or 4? I loved the speed and thrill of the game. The levels themselves were all colorful, and the designs were amazing, taking multiple pathways trying to get to the end of the level. Hell, even the special stages when you go through the rings, that shit was captivating. After that, it was set in stone that I was a Sonic fanboy, for better or for worse. After that point, my family pretty much knew how much I loved the fucking character, so they would try to get me as much Sonic related shit as they could. As a kid, we had a PS2. Now, this PS2 wouldn't last forever, since it would end up getting broken because there were 3 kids running around doing stupid shit, so it's not surprising that it ended up breaking. Other than the Kingdom Hearts games we had for the console, I remember we had Sonic Unleashed. I remember really loving this fucking game. I actually got to Eggman Land, but I'm not sure if I beat the game or not. It's been so long. I think my uncle had a PS3 or Xbox, I forgot which one, it's been so long. But he had that port of the game. I would watch this man play this game so much, bro. I thought the boosting levels were some of the most badass shit I've ever seen. I've never seen anything go that fast, and I've never seen level design that crazy before. I mean, I was already captivated by the Genesis games, but this was a whole different level for me. I even loved watching my uncle play the Werehog stages. I know everybody hates the fucking Werehog, but I was a small kid, so I was entertained by damn near anything. So I would love watching this man play this game. I became so familiar with this game, like I knew this game like the back of my hand, just how many times I watched this guy play it. This is all before I even started fucking school, so I was really young. Yeah, let's just say I have a lot of history of Sonic Unleashed. I would try to watch Sonic X when it was on TV as a kid, and the times I did, god damn, I fucking love that show. I thought it was the greatest show of all time as a fucking kid. The art style and how they portrayed the characters were amazing. And even to this day, I think the show holds up extremely well. The storyline is fine, and the characters are good. I honestly think it's a pretty good product. When I started school, when I was, I think six, I don't really remember. I was already a glorified Sonic fanboy. So I was like a shy kid in school, so I didn't really talk to many people. Also, because none of my fucking classmates even knew what the hell Sonic was. So I was like, well, what the hell? So let's just say I didn't really talk to many people about Sonic. But it didn't matter too much because I would just go home and play Sonic, watch somebody else play it. So it didn't really bother me too much. Before I even go on, I wanted to mention back in the day when my dumbass was in computer lab, instead of doing whatever the hell the teacher wanted me to do, my dumbass was playing Ultimate Sonic Flash. I have so many nostalgic memories of playing this game when I was really not supposed to. I remember I would sit at a specific computer and play this game until I unlocked every fucking character. It's unfortunate that Flash has been shut down, but for how small this game was, I had a blast playing it even though I really wasn't supposed to, and let's just say I got in trouble a lot, but I did not care. I was too obsessed with this character started to even care. I would play this like so much. For some reason, my family had the original Xbox, which is weird because we were always on Team PlayStation. My cousins and all of them, they had Xboxes and all that. But for me and my family, we had PlayStation. So I don't know why we had an Xbox. We didn't have many games on the Xbox, but one of the games we had was the Sonic Mega Collection Plus. This was also when we got our first PS3. Let's just say we went through multiple PS3s. My mom and my stepdad would always use the PS3, so I would just play the Xbox as much as I could, and 99% of the time I was playing Sonic. I forgot what other games I had, I don't really remember. It's thanks to the Mega Collection that I beat all the original games. I would always try to beat them as a kid, but I sucked ass. But eventually I ended up beating all the classic games, and I felt like a complete badass. I would play these games over and over and over and over again as a kid. I loved almost all of the stages and acts, except for this one. I remember being so amazed after collecting all the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 2 and seeing him go supersonic. This was the most badass shit I've ever seen, and this was before I even knew what a Dragon Ball was. And it was even more crazy seeing this guy go hypersonic in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Like, all these stages and games I've played countless times as a kid. While most kids in school were playing the Call of Duties or whatever the fuck was out at the time, I was playing Sonic, and I really did not give a damn. This is also how I played some of his other games for the first time, like 3D Blast, Spinball, and I didn't like these at all. I hated how 3D Blast controlled. The levels are nowhere near as fun as the Genesis games. And Spinball, I just sucked at it so bad, so I hated playing it. Hell, I would even spend hours in the extras menu, and I was amazed by all the Archie covers they would have, and I was like, this Sonic Heroes game kinda looks badass. Oh yes, this is also when I started reading Archie Sonic and being blown away by some of these stories, and kinda horrified of Fleetway Sonic. Whenever I would actually use the PS3, if I wasn't playing Kingdom Hearts, I was playing Sonic. Mainly Sonic Unleashed, over and over and over again. As a kid, Unleashed was probably my most played game other than Kingdom Hearts, but I'm not 100% sure. I was so obsessed with this game. Like, the theme song of Sonic Unleashed Endless Possibilities, I would blast that song on loop to the point where everyone was like, alright, shut this fucking song off. My mom and my dad was split up, so we would go over our dad's every other weekend. Over there, he had a Wii, and on that Wii, we had Sonic and the Black Knight. Yes, I know this game isn't very good and it has a lot of flaws, but I have tons of nostalgia for this game. I used to think Sonic having a sword was the coolest shit on the planet. You give almost any character a sword, I thought they were badass as a kid. Now, yeah, it's stupid as hell, but as a kid, I really thought it was so badass. I remember going through each individual stage, swinging that fucking Wii remote, almost throwing the game controller sometimes, trying to kill all these like enemies. I remember struggling to beat King Arthur as a kid and dying over and over and over again. I remember when I finally beat him, I was so damn happy. It felt like I climbed Mount Everest. But imagine my shock when I discovered there was more to do in the fucking game, and you got to play as Shadow, Knuckles, and Blaze. Mind you, at this time I wasn't the most familiar with Blaze, as I didn't know what the DS games were and Sonic Rush and all that, but I thought it was cool as hell. Don't get me started on Excalibur Sonic, oh my god. And that final boss with that music, holy shit. I thought this game was amazing as a kid, but growing up I realized that this game isn't really that good, but it's better than Secret Reign, so that's cool at least. Christmas of that year, I forget how old I was, but I was pretty young. But that's when all of us kids got tablets from our dad. And funny enough, that same year, one of my cousins on my dad's side of the family had Sonic 06 for the PS3. I remember being like, I need it! Oh, you naive child. Without any hesitation, he gave it to me as a Christmas gift because he knew how much I loved Sonic and how obsessed I was over this guy. Or the fact that the game was dog shit. So I went home and tried to play Sonic 06 as a kid and thinking to myself, I don't really like this game. My dumb idiot kid self couldn't beat the levels just because how glitchy the levels were. I remember thinking, why is Sonic go into space. I ended up giving up on the game, but on that tablet with the access to the internet, I would watch so many Sonic videos on YouTube. It's actually how I discovered some of my favorite YouTubers to watch, like Some Tell Me Johnny, Ant Dude, all the Sonic related content creators. But I would watch so many different fan animations, let's plays, reviews on the game, Archie stuff. This is also how I discovered many of the Sonic games, like Colors, the adventure games, Shadow the Hedgehog, and other games in this franchise. There was a point in time where I was literally watching so much Sonic that I knew pretty much this man's entire history up until that point, and I only haven't played half of his games. I just love the character that much. I remember I also played Sonic 4 Episode 2, and I was like, yeah, I don't really like this game that much. That's all I can really say about that, because I've never beat Sonic 4 at all due to how bad I thought these games were. Maybe I will in the future, but I haven't attempted to go back to those games because I really did not like them at all. And most people seem to agree. Eventually, for a birthday gift, I would end up getting Sonic Generations, and I instantly fell in love with it. Even though a lot of the games I didn't play through at the time, like the adventure games, I love going through all these levels as classic and modern Sonic, and even to this day, this game still holds up. Like, I knew the levels, like, I pretty much watched, like, almost every Sonic game, like, via a Let's Play and all of that, so I knew the levels, but it's just the fact that I was going through these levels, like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. Oh man, when I got Super Sonic, I lost my mind. I was loving this game, and whenever I wasn't playing the PS3, I would watch Sonic videos on YouTube, and when I wasn't doing that, I was playing the Xbox. Like, I was Sonic obsessed. Like, if I wasn't playing Kingdom Hearts, I was playing Sonic. Those are my two go-tos back in the day. This is also when we would lose the Xbox we have. I don't remember what the hell happened to it, but I remember one day, it was just gone. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to play the Mega Collection Plus, which is disappointing because I wouldn't be able to play the original games. Now, this is where things kind of slowed down for me in the Blue Blur. A couple years would pass, and I was still a fan of him, but I wasn't following as much as I once was. I do remember, though, there was a kid in grade school that I was a friend with, and this kid loved Sonic like I did. So we would talk about Sonic every fucking day, pretty much. And I remember he gave me, like, it was like a DVD of, like, the first 10 episodes of, like, Sonic Sad AM, and I also had, like, 10 episodes of The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog on DVD from my dad. I remember watching these constantly as a kid. Hell, me and my sister would even watch Sonic Underground. We thought this shit was awesome. We thought the songs they would sing were amazing and catchy as hell. Nowadays, yeah, it's pretty cringe, and this scene would never not be funny. But I was definitely not following the Blue Blur as much as I was. I was following other games I was interested in and watching more anime and TV shows, so I wasn't constantly consuming Sonic media as much. Mind you, I still was, but not to the same degree. At this point, I pretty much knew everything about this hedgehog and all the games due to always watching him on YouTube and all that. Then, one day, I decided to finally play the adventure games and beat Sonic 06. This is when the adventure games were ported over to the 360 and PS3, so that's what I did. When I played through the adventure games, I remembered not fully loving them on my first playthrough, and I fucking despised 06. I liked the adventure games, but they weren't as good as I thought they were due to so many people praising the games. Maybe it was because I was so used to the high octane speed from like Sonic Unleashed and Generations. I played them again and again until I loved Adventure 2. That game is one of my favorite games of all time. I love Adventure 2, and I respect Adventure 1. There was a lot of things about Adventure 1 that I don't like. There's things about Adventure 1 that don't really age well, but there are things about Adventure 1 that I love to this very day, like the Sonic levels. God, I love those levels. And the less I say about Sonic 06, the better. When the PS4 was coming out, I was super excited because all the games I was following at the time and the possibilities of what the PS4 could have and the tech it was having, like, I was excited. We wouldn't end up getting the PS4 until like 3 years later though. When Sonic Forces and Mania was coming out, I was hyped. I was like, hell yes, I'm gonna get a Sonic game for the new generation of consoles. I was hyped. I ended up getting Sonic Forces first because the idiot I thought the game looked better than Mania. That's crazy to think about, but I was still excited for Mania. So I played it, and I remember when I first beat it, I thought it was mid at best. I heard a lot of negative reviews on the game. Some were even saying it was the worst in the franchise. Even to this day, I don't think the game was that bad at all. Yeah, the game is ass, but to say it's the worst, no. I don't think it tops top 5, but that's my own opinion. Feeling kinda disappointed with Forces, I played Mania, and holy shit, I loved this fucking game. I played it over and over and over again. At the time, I thought it was the greatest Sonic game to ever release. And it was kind of sad to think about that. It's like a fan project of people who made fan games of Sonic. They got the character right, better than the fucking people who own the character. And I even played the DLC that came out with Mighty, and god, I love this game, the level design. Yes, it takes a lot of elements from older games, but I don't care. The game was so fun to play. It looked visually gorgeous. I loved this game. And it kind of reignited my passion for this character. So after the hype of Mania, I went back to Forces, and I hated my time with it. All the flaws I had with the game stuck out way more. I haven't played the game ever since that playthrough, but damn, I really did not like that game. This was also when I kind of stopped following Sonic for a little bit, because I was so disappointed in what Sega was doing with Sonic and what they did with Sonic Forces. I knew this man's history, like I knew all of his games and how bad some of them were, and I loved the adventure games, but I wasn't like following them as much because I was just so upset with what they did in Sonic Forces. And I wasn't interested in Team Sonic Racing, and I was just focusing on other games at the time, so I kind of just stopped following Sonic. Then I hear that there's a live action Sonic movie coming out. I was curious to say the least, so I watched the trailer and holy fuck, this man is ugly. Just like everyone at the time, I was shocked at how bad he ended up looking. I thought to myself, yep, this is gonna be the Dragon Ball evolution of Sonic. Everyone talked mad shit about how bad he looked. I go on record saying that this is one of the only times so many people talking shit to like film developers or anything in terms of like developing games or anything actually benefiting like the future product, because if we didn't talk out mad shit, the Sonic movie would not look as good as it did. So I kind of lost faith in the series and Sega, but this is also the time when I played some of the Sonic games I hadn't played, like Sonic Colors and Sonic and Secret Rings. I love Colors so much, but as much as I loved it, it wasn't enough to make me forget about how bad that movie looked, and so I was still kind of sour and depressed, like damn, Sonic is not in a good spot right now, again. So I took another small break from Sonic until the first movie came out, and this is also when I watched the OVA for the first time. I liked it. It's cheesy, and the Metal Sonic versus Sonic, that shit is iconic. I thought the redesign of this movie was amazing, and I was actually kind of excited to watch it. So I went to see it day one in the theater, and I enjoyed it. It isn't the greatest movie, but for what it is, I enjoyed it. Even to this day, video game movies, they're not really that good, but this is when video game movies started to like get better over time. Then, as much as I loved it, I did take another break from Sonic, and I didn't become fully invested into the character until Sonic Colors Ultimate was announced. I was super excited for a remaster of this game. I thought the original was one of his best games. I was thinking, damn, they could do so many great things with Sonic Colors too, and bring it to new hardware. So imagine my disappointment when I discovered it wasn't the greatest port. I thought the game was way too glitchy for its own good. I haven't gone back to it since my initial playthrough, but I do hear that it's better, but damn, I was really disappointed. I would continue to play Sonic and watch Sonic videos because as the Sonic fan that I am, I can't just ignore this guy. But after Sonic Colors Ultimate, I was like, damn, they're just never gonna fucking get this man right. I would replay Adventure a couple times and replay some of his older games, but I was just at a point where I'm like, Sega just doesn't know what to do with this character. And that sucks because I really do love this character in this franchise. Then the second movie was starting to come out. I was really hyped for this one because of Tails and Knuckles, and they look great. It was probably my most anticipated movie of that year. I kind of forgot what came out that year, but I was really hyped. I remember getting to the theater, seeing all these families with their little kids, and the dude working there saw me, a high schooler, going to see Sonic 2, and he was like, hey yo, what the fuck is this man doing? Aren't you a little too old for this? I really enjoyed it way more than the first one. I remember being the only one who cheered during the Super Sonic part and the Shadow post-credit scene, and during those moments I even heard some families be like, hey yo, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? This is also the year Frontiers came out. I remember when the first footage dropped for this game, and I remember hearing so many people shit talk this game. Like, the amount of people trash talking this game was actually insane. But I was holding out hope that this was gonna be good. And to everyone's surprise, it was pretty good. It isn't the greatest, but it was a good time. I like the open world aspect, and it was a good place to start taking the hedgehog and like doing more ideas and more open world elements, like where they were taking Sonic. Even to this day, I think we're in a good spot and it could work out better. And the fact that the game got DLC, which I still haven't played yet, but I heard pretty good things about it. Like, we are in a pretty good spot with Sonic right now. But it did take me a while to beat the game because at the time I was so busy with school and work that I just didn't have a lot of time to play it. But this is also when I built my first PC, so I emulated the Sonic games that I didn't play, like Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic Heroes. Now, I knew Shadow the Hedgehog was a bad game, but god damn, I was not expecting it to be this bad. Listen, Shadow is one of my favorite characters in Sonic when he's written well. Shadow in this game is not written well at all. It's borderline ridiculous. People compare Shadow and Sonic 06 and which one's truly worse, and to be honest with you, I can't pick. Shadow was so bad that Sega wanted to reboot the franchise, but that reboot, it was a game for his 15th anniversary, was so bad that it effectively killed Sonic for a little bit. So I honestly don't know which one is worse. But playing Sonic Heroes, I did like it a lot, and I'm glad I finally went to it and played it. I love the team mechanic, even though sometimes it was jank. Then in 2023, Sonic Superstars was released. I didn't buy it day one, but I remember enjoying it a lot. And this is when I fully started reviewing games for this channel. So if you want my full thoughts on the game, I'll link it in the description below. That's kind of where it ends for now. In April of this year, I went to a Sonic Symphony where I was and fucking enjoyed myself. If you love Sonic soundtrack, I highly recommend going to one near you whenever they're in your area or they come back or whatever. It is legit one of the best experiences I've had in my life. Being surrounded by all these people who love this character and this franchise while listening to amazing music, it was fucking great. But for now, that's where it ends. We are currently waiting on whenever they decide to drop a trailer for Sonic Movie 3. Like, what the fuck is taking you so long? And excitedly waiting for Sonic at Shadow Generations. Overall, even during the Hedgehog's darkest times, I've always been a fan of this man. Probably always will. I can never forget my time with this Hedgehog and all the good memories I have with this franchise. Even during my darkest times and the hardest moments of my life, playing this man's games or like watching like YouTubers cover this man's games, let's plays and all that, like this character truly does mean a lot to me. So whenever I see Sega fuck him up, it's like, dude, come on, man. Pretty much all of my life I've been a fan of Sonic. Yeah, Sonic 3 was the first game I've ever played, and obviously it's kind of biased, but honestly, if it wasn't for Sonic 3, I probably wouldn't be the person I am right now, because it wouldn't have made me expand my taste in games. Yeah, I discovered franchises that I liked more than Sonic, but Sonic just holds a special place in my heart. Because for me, Sonic, if it wasn't Kingdom Hearts, like Sonic was that game for me that I was always playing. Like, I was literally obsessed with this fucking character. Like, as a kid, I literally thought I was fucking Sonic. It was that bad. So, happy 33rd anniversary, Sonic. I'm hopeful and I'm excited to see what you have in store for the future. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Let me know your experiences with this blue hedgehog that we all know and love sometimes. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.